Hi everybody, John Senior here, and welcome to FunkQuest Season 5, the Grand Final. And we're going to crown one of these two people Grand Champion Funkster for Season 5. So if you've not been on the show before, where have you been? You got to listen to Season 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and semi-finals and loads of stuff before you get to this. So stop the tape, go and listen, do what Uncle Jonathan says, and do listen to previous episodes. Before we get started, we've got Grand Champion Funkster from Season 4 returning to make sure we've got fair play. So, Bob, tell us where you're dialing in from.
Hi, guys. I'm dialing in from Seattle, Washington in the United States.
That's up in the north top bit, in it, the top corner.
Yeah, in the rainy corner. Yeah, where the green things live, you know, Yetis and whatnot.
Carmel, tell us where you're dialing in from.
I'm from Sheffield in the UK.
Hey! And Shawny, tell us where you're dialing in from.
I'm dialing in today from Port Moody, British Columbia, which is just a little bit above Seattle, so still that green corridor, but the southwest of the country I live in, Canada.
I think you've broke the record of the highest number of locations where you've dialed in from.
Yeah, I like to switch it up, and I had a little theme going, so I figured I'd continue with it for the final.
We're going to have a first because we're going to have a gentleman champion, and we're going to have a British champion for the first time, which is quite exciting, so our wings are spreading.
The rules of FunkQuest are simple. Each Funkster selects one of 4 icons. Behind each icon is a question which may or may not have anything to do with the icon. The Funkster then has 1 minute to tell a story, tell a joke, or maybe even answer the question. After each Funkster has answered 5 questions, it's up to you to vote on who you think gave the best responses. Stay tuned until the end of the show to learn how to do that.
So, Bob, what should we do? Should we make Shawny go first or Carmel go first?
Ladies first, I think.
Ladies first, okay.
British ladies first.
Carmel, strawberry cake, some coloured balls, a lion, or a bridge?
Oh, strawberry cake, please.
Strawberry cake. What sauces do you put on a hot dog?
Oh, well, I'd ask the dog what he wanted, and I would think if he was hot, he'd want a really cold sauce.
I'm going to, Bob, take that one. I'm going to just...
I'm sorry. That's the best answer I've ever heard. I think that's fantastic.
It is, yeah. You won the biscuit.
When I was growing up, Chihuahuas were thought, like, why would someone keep a Chihuahua? And we just figured it was because they were taco-sized. And I figured that, you don't have extra meat by the time you're done. But see, that feels too dark, and so I'm just going to leave it at sauce. That was a really good answer.
Yeah, that is a good answer. You don't eat hot dogs at your house, do you? I mean, to answer the question, you don't, do you?
She obviously does. She can't even for the sauce.
Yeah, excellent. Well, I'm glad time's up on that one. Good start. Sean, you did the best thing of keeping quiet then. You can pick some coloured balls, a lion or a bridge.
I'm going to go with the lion.
Lion. Who makes the first move in getting back in touch?
You know, often when I try to get back in touch with people, I'm very, very bad at initializing it, but then I'm pretty good at following it all the way through. And I think part of it is just because I'm so in the moment at times that I often kind of forget. But I think a little bit having the ADHD brain is time can also be very short or very long, but not necessarily matching if it's actually short or long. So sometimes I feel like I've talked to people just a day ago when actually it's been a couple of months. But yeah, unfortunately, I'd love to say I'm the first person that makes the move to get back in touch. It's usually the other person. But after that, I'm pretty good at following through all the way to a successful meetup.
Are you the guy that will respond with a text that just says K?
I'm not the K guy. I usually, unfortunately, instead of responding immediately with that, just to keep it going, is I'll not wait and give a thoughtful response, but I always tend to add a bit more. But I'm also the long texter too, so I'm not the short phrases over and over and over. I'll throw a big paragraph in there. The
thumbs up text is my least favorite thing in the world. I think you couldn't even bother to give me a insincere, fake one line. Like, really?
I'm quite fortunate in that I have an old machine. And I can't read any of those stupid thumbs up and thumbs down and smiley face and crying face. I can't read any of them. Because even those can be misinterpreted these days. Carmel, you can pick some tiger stripes, an elephant, some chess pieces, or some trainers.
Ooh, trainers.
Trainers. Favourite show on TV?
Oh, my word. There is such an unexplored presumption in this. I live in the bottom. You know, in Sheffield, we have these really steep valleys, and I live in the bottom of one of these valleys, and there is no TV signal. Eventually, when they put satellites up in the air, we could have a dish on the front of our house that could actually get a TV signal. And I loved Doctor Who. Used to watch Doctor Who with my kids. Then the trees grew up and actually cut off the signal. So I haven't watched television for decades.
Who's your favourite Doctor Who?
Oh, Christopher Eccleston, when my kids were little. Yeah, yeah. It was Tom Baker, is really the best one. He's the real Doctor Who.
He is. That's the right answer. The answer is the Doctor Who that you were when you were about early teens, 12, 13, 14, whatever. That's the correct Doctor Who. A scarf with question marks on and a trilby hat doesn't get any funkier than that. Okay, Shawny, question 2, some tiger stripes, elephant, or some chess pieces?
Even though there's no bear ahead, I think since I did lion, I have to do tiger. So
tiger stripes. What do all your friends have in common?
I mean, the easiest answer is me.
Yeah.
I feel like in general, I kind of want that brings everyone together. But no, all my friends kind of have the same mantra as I have of trying to have the most fun every single day. And I'm fortunate enough that a lot of my friends are very kind of diverse, different professionals, different lifestyles and things like that. So I'm lucky enough that all my friends, the one that we have in common, like I said, is having the most fun every day, which leads to some good times that I could share and some good times that I probably should keep to myself, lest the authorities find out. But and thankfully with my move and a couple of my other friends having the same mindset, we've actually spread out a bit as well. So it's just having fun every single day is the one thing we all have in common.
It's easier to keep in touch now with disparate groups.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the cool thing about the technology advancements, I think it's allowing people to even stray a little bit more out of their comfort zone. The area I grew up in outside of Philadelphia, not many people would stray out. And now I think my generation is really starting to expand the globe.
I was going to say that explains why he's obviously going to be connected to a bunch of cornhole athletes, because he wants to have the most fun every day, right? Because I hear this about Sean, that he has some knowledge of professional cornhole.
Professional cornhole is something that we need to get on the show.
It really is. And I just feel like since you committed to this much fun every day, he's probably got that person.
All right. I would recommend for anyone listening, don't just go search cornholers. Bag toss, you can also search as well. Might be a little bit safer.
It's safe if you add the word league. That's what I figured.
League.
Like cornhole.
I hope so.
Makes it not creepy. Not at all.
Yeah. Carmel, I know some paints, a frog, some pyramids, or some strawberries.
The paints, please.
Paints. Where have you been on a boat?
Last time I went on a boat, I must have been on the northeast coast of England, which is the most beautiful area you can imagine. And you can go along and loads of birds, like puffins even, nest in the cliffs. And you can watch them from the sea. Beautiful.
Near Filey Brig, Bempton Cliffs, and you go from Braid or Scarborough.
Yeah, either of those you can do it from. It's beautiful, yeah.
And you told us this fantastic story about the whole reason that there's this island and there's the dragon and it's spiny, and we went and looked it up. But what you didn't mention is that that's the reason that all of you British folk like sticky toffee pudding.
It's right? Not sticky toffee pudding, it's parkin. And it's not all English folk, because parkin's made with oats. So it's only in the north of England that we eat parkin. But parkin is really important for protection against dragons. Definitely.
That's what I heard. Like, wouldn't you have started with that? Like, by the way, if you have a dragon in your neighborhood, go make some parkin, which I went and made. And I think that's why I got it.
Do you can we get a recipe to you for parkin?
There's a recipe in my book for parkin. It's definitely there.
Photograph that page, Carmel, we'll put it in the show notes. Excellent. Sean, you can have a frog, some pyramids, or some strawberries.
I'm going to go with the pyramids.
Pyramids. How many books did you read last year?
You know what? I am not a book reader. It just doesn't, I'll do audiobooks, I'll do videos, things like that. But for some reason, books, my brain tends to just be a little bit too active to kind of really settle into it. So the answer is probably 0, to be honest with you.
You're a sports guy. Tell us some audiobooks of sports people that we should go and listen to.
There's a guy in hockey, Brian Burke, who tells some pretty ridiculous stories, including ones about importing players to North America from Russia. Yeah, I don't know. Sports books sometimes tend to be very formulaic. So I would say for audiobooks, one that I really love was Craig Ferguson, American on Purpose. It's his first autobiography. It's a really cool story. It tells about his struggles and things like that, but it's also has that little element of fun, which I love as well. So that's one I'd recommend.
Craig Ferguson. Do we know him, Carmel? Is he Scottish?
He is Scottish. Yeah, he became a late night talk show host over here in the States. But yeah, he's originally from Scotland.
Towards audiobooks that are read by the author.
I do like when they're read by the author. I think that those are usually better. I've had a couple where it's a professional VO guy or something like that. But I think when it's read by the author, you get better inflection. But then also, as long as you have the picture and their voice, you kind of can create the narrative and the story in your head a bit better.
Carmel, have you narrated your own books? Have you done that?
I've told the stories in my books lots. I often tell the stories, but I haven't actually done a recorded narration of them now.
Apparently, you don't need a studio anymore. My nephew, who is smarter than I am, put all the software on my fake computer and said all I had to do is hit play and I could have an audiobook.
Yeah, the trick is you do it late at night when the house is quiet and there's no traffic noise.
Here, there's constant traffic noise. I was told that if I bundled myself in a blanket and sat in my closet, that it would solve it.
I've had to do some voiceover stuff, and the key is you just get between all your sweatshirts, your hoodies, things like that, and it'll dampen it down. So I've actually done some actual like paid VO stuff in my closet from time to time.
Well, put it on the list of things that you've got to do before you get back on is you've got to write a book and record it. Tell us all about it. All right, so you've got to.
So I'm actually writing a book about the Cornhole League, and I'll have one of the guys do the VO, and I'll be set with my big old crown there.
There you are. You're welcome back. Welcome and shake hands and all that again. Yeah. Carmel, some piano keys, some grapes, a table setting, or a girl doing the oops.
The grapes, please.
Grapes. What makes you feel insecure?
Sometimes you go somewhere and there's somebody wearing a jacket, like a high-vis jacket, and on the back it says security. And that always terrifies me, because if there's someone wearing a jacket that says security, you think there must be something dangerous here, that they've got to put security staff on. And I actually made my own jacket, and I got a high-vis jacket, and on the back of it I printed insecurity.
Very good. Very, do you think that's that's costuming though, isn't it? That's just people like hard hat, high vis jacket. It's just like I'm in charge.
If you're wearing a high visibility jacket and you walk down a busy pavement, everyone gets out of your way. We really think differently about people if they're wearing high vis. So it's a real kind of power jacket. And they think I'm a security officer, and then they look back at me and it says insecurity.
We watched a few weeks ago the re-dramatisation of the Hatton Gardens jewellery robbery in London, central London. And for their disguise, if that's the right word, disguise, the top man had a jacket that said gas on the back, disguised themselves as workmen with hard hats and high vis and boots and stuff like that.
Yeah, you can almost get into anything with a high-vis vest. I think other funny things to put on it is you also put quiet or do not disturb, because if anyone tries to harass you about it, you just kind of point, like, read it. So you can get in anywhere with a high-vis vest as long as it says the right thing on the back.
That's a good idea. So on the back it says quiet, do not disturb.
Yeah, exactly. And then they come up like, hey, what are you doing? You can't answer. You go, shh.
Read the sign. That's hilarious. Well, it's kind of like, is it a thing in the UK to be able to buy former police cars? Yeah. Have you noticed that you can have someone that's driving a former police car, everybody slows down just at the sight of the shape of that car? It doesn't even have to still be painted in black and white. There's like a whoa, that's already. And
I used to cycle to work with a lad who had like a yellow high-vis jacket, and it had like some trim on the top, and people used to think he was police because it had like some like the things on the shoulders. Piano keys. A table setting or a girl going oops?
I'm going to go with the girl saying oops.
The girl saying oops. Now, you're a fun guy. This is not a very fun question. What is the worst thing to happen before going on holiday? And you don't have to be serious.
I think it's got to be if you get a little bit of like the bubble guts, so the rumbly tummy, beforehand. Because one, obviously the trip you're going to be suffering through. Then once you get there, it's going to not allow you to kind of be, exploring new cuisines and things like that. I know easy answers might be like breakups or things of that nature, but I think as long as you are fully capable, have all your faculties with you to dive into an adventure, you'll be okay. So the worst thing, especially for me, would be to have a little bit of that upset stomach beforehand, because that's a hard thing to recover on holiday.
The worst thing to happen before you went on holiday would be dying, wouldn't it? You'd miss your holiday.
Well, you would, but you'd be dead, so you wouldn't know about it.
It's almost the ultimate holiday in that sense, right?
Yeah.
Go big or go home.
A friend of mine, where his brother drew in permanent marker a Harry Potter scar and glass and stuff on his passport, which he did not find out until at border control. Also from the UK, so it was even that much funnier because it wasn't funny to dress up as Harry Potter in that sense. But that's one of the passport stories that I've heard. Passport story, I had, right before my wedding, I had gotten sick actually, and I started losing weight dramatically and things like that. So I lost 126 pounds before my wedding, the year leading up to it. We went to South Africa on our honeymoon, and I showed my passport photo, which was at this point 150 pounds heavier, and they almost didn't let me in because I looked that dramatically different. So I'm in South Africa with my my wife, who hasn't changed her name or anything on the passport. So we look like two separate people trying to get into South Africa, and I almost was not let in because of the dramatic weight loss difference between those two.
I can't imagine dropping. I mean, when you say rumbly tumbly, you're not kidding. If you're dropping 126 pounds,
that one was actually undiagnosed, unchecked type 1 diabetes that I did not know I had at 32 at the time, or 31, 32 at the time. So started trying to shred for the wedding, getting good workout shape, and instead I lost a good portion of myself, and they were like, that doesn't seem normal. And blood test confirmed it. Finally, the type 1 kicked in 31 years down the line.
Probably the only reason they let you into the country is they're like, this guy's so emaciated, he couldn't be kidnapping her.
Yeah, exactly, right? They're like, this is definitely a reverse situation. We're going to let it be.
Question 5, Carmel. Mountain scene, big fish, world map, or a cyclist?
Oh, let's go with the whole world.
The whole world. When was the last time you wrote a check?
Yeah, I've still got a book of stubs actually for checks that I have written. I've certainly written more checks than I've written books. I haven't written a check for years. That's a thing from history, isn't it? Do you know what? I think we should have a museum of checks.
Cash only to get in.
I write checks every week. I don't understand.
Do you? Who to?
My really old car with 300,000 miles died this last week. I don't know why. It seemed like such a young thing. And I had to replace it. I wrote a check to replace the car to a person.
Well, next time you're writing a check, make it a big one, send it to me, and I'll put it in the Museum of Checks.
I need the money, Carmel. I can't be just writing random checks and mailing them to British people. It's a thing. To me, I'm more freaked out by the online banking world. To me, that feels so it doesn't feel like real money. If I just click on my computer, go pay that person quite a lot of bit, it doesn't feel real to me. When you actually have to write a check, it's like, well, that hurt.
Wait, a check is literally just a note being like, no, this is good. I love that you think a check is more real money.
Compared to a box, because the box, the computer is what I mean. The box will randomly be like, I'm sorry, we can't do business with you. We're on an update. Whereas the check, I'm holding in my hand. I'm writing the check. When it's on the computer, I really assume that there's some 20-year-old jerking my chain every once in a while. You know what? I think I'll make the internet die today. That's how it feels to me.
Question 5, mountain scene, big fish or a cyclist?
The mountain scene.
The mountain scene. Now, you're a happy, chappy, fun guy. What irritates you most about your neighbours? And you've got a minute.
What irritates me about my neighbors is almost the lack of acknowledgement sometimes, right? We are literally where we live, we have some shared walls, so it's apartments all together. We're literally living in the same space. And sometimes you go through the hallway and it's there's no acknowledgement of your existence. And that always kind of irritates me a bit because sometimes we can hear them. So they know we exist. They know, we know they exist and all that. So it's the only thing that really kind of irritates me. I will say it's one thing I'm looking forward to the most is finally living in a place I haven't had as a child of living in my own home where I don't have to share walls, don't have to worry about anyone's kid learning saxophone, he's getting better, or any other randomness that might come from their sides of the wall. I'm happy just to be able to make my own noise and irritate nothing but the grass outside.
So when you say acknowledgement, when you're walking down shared things, putting the bins out and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah, like we'll sometimes exchange in the elevator, and you might get kind of a nod or something like that. But you know, we're all on the same floor here. We're in the same space.
But do you say hi? Like, do you? Because I read this thing somewhere, and I think it might be true that no one waves first, but everyone will wave back.
It's funny is I do try to make acknowledgement, and I talked about this on a previous round, I believe, of the difference between East Coast, West Coast, nice and kind, and things like that. So I always try to initiate a little hello and things like that. Even when I'm half asleep, walking the dog in the morning, things like that, I try to get a little something. But the ones that just want to have those blinders on and do nothing, it's always just an irritation in the lightest sense, but an irritation none the same.
A few years back, we had a number of people trying to steal cars from outside our house because we just park on the street. And if anybody's car alarm went off after dark, everybody ran out with their poker, from the fire. We're like, don't get whose fire you're going for. And everybody ran out to sort out who was nicking our cars.
So you got a vest that said valet?
It's all about the vest. There was a book I read a few years ago that was written by an extreme introvert, and it was called I'm sorry I'm late, I didn't want to come, I think is what it is. And she's trying to overcome, she was like introvert to the point of maybe agoraphobic, like in extreme. But one of her first projects, she studied this intensely, was to go to a London, I guess it would be like a bus terminal, basically, and to strike up conversation with strangers. And she ended up getting weird mixed results because she asked people, who's the Queen of England? Which initially she's horrified because she's talking to strangers. But after she does it, she's horrified at how many people got the answer wrong. And it's like, you're in London. Nope, Victoria is actually not still the...
Don't assume anything when it's the general public. Don't assume anything.
To send one of these funksters to the next round, follow the link in the description to the episode page on funkythinkers.com and comment who you want to win. You can play FunkQuest yourself after you leave your vote. Do not vote on Spreaker or YouTube or iHeartRadio or any other platforms you might be listening on, because these votes will not be counted.
Carmel, how can we find out more about you, contact you, buy your books and all that stuff?
You can look for me on Facebook, Carmel Page, and my book, Yorkshire Folk Tales for Children, is in all good bookshops.
Excellent. Shawny, how can we contact you and find out more about you?
Previous episodes, I said Instagram, I said Twitter, it's all at Shawny Hill, but I wanted to go throw it back. So you know what? Why don't you send me a self-addressed stamped envelope? So just send me a letter. Here's an address. It's actually my work, so you can't find me at my home. 2015 Main Street, Vancouver, BC, V5T3C2. Again, not my house, just a shared office building I have. So help me bother all my neighbors by just sending me some letters.
That'd be good.
Sean, I want to know, what happens if we send you a check?
Well, yeah, I will know what to do with it. I've actually written a check recently, but yeah, it's real money. I'll take it. So yes, checks, please.
Yeah.
Send me your cornhole highlight reels. Anything you have, we'll take it. And again, if you have a self-addressed stamped envelope, I will reply to you. But I won't pay to reply to you.
I'm going to take you up on that. You understand? I have like a house full of writers here. You're going to get
take up on that. Yeah. Excellent. So we'll see one of you ladies or gents in the crowning episode. Thanks so much, and we'll speak soon.